Good morning. Thank you for joining us today as we recognize those who have fallen in the line of duty. I ask you to please stand for the posting of the colors and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Detail. Present. Arms. Present. Arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Detail. Order. March. Left. Order. March. Ceremonial. Ready. Ceremonial. Dress.
Please be seated. Again, I would like to thank everyone for attending today, and a special thanks to Class 451 from Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command for being with us here today as we honor those officers who fell in the line of duty. At this time, I'd like to call up Troy Police Chaplain Vince Messina for our invocation.
Thank you, Chief. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the beautiful weather you've given us today to honor these who have fallen in the line of duty. We thank you for the measure of health that is ours by your grace. As we honor these who have given their lives, we also remember their families who continue to live their legacy. We pray for their continued comfort and well-being and protection. We thank you for this opportunity to honor these this day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. At this time, I invite Mayor Dane Slater to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you, Chief. I think this is the 7th or 8th time I've had the honor and the privilege for being here this morning as we remember and give thanks to our police department for what they've done for our community. So I want to take the time to say thank you to each and every one of you that are here today for being here to support our police department and those that have given the ultimate sacrifice to make our community the safest there can be. So on behalf of the City Council, the city, the businesses, it's my honor to present the proclamation from the City Council that makes this Police Memorial Week on behalf of the City of Troy. And I'd like to read that proclamation so everyone can understand how important this is to the City of Troy. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States has designated May 15th of each year to be Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Memorial Week. Whereas our law enforcement officers are guardians of life and property, defenders of the individual right to be free, warriors in the battle against crime, and are dedicated to the preservation of life and property. Whereas our community desires to honor the valor, service, and dedication of its own police officers. And whereas the City of Troy will observe Police Memorial Day on Thursday, May 16th, 2019, with a dedication ceremony in front of the police department. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council of the City of Troy hereby proclaims May 16th, 2019 as Police Memorial Day in the City of Troy, and call upon all our citizens to make every effort to express appreciation to these men and women who are willing to sacrifice their lives, if necessary, to guard us and our loved ones against all who will violate the law. Be it further resolved that we invite all citizens to reflect and remember 3 officers: Charles Smetana, Martin Chivas, and Charles Mulvihill, who lost their lives in service to our community. These men will be forever remembered for their ultimate sacrifice. This is signed May 16, 2019 by myself, all members of the City Council that are here also today to support this very important day for us in our community. So I say thank you to the Chief Nastasi, all of the Troy police officers for what you do to make this community safe. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Police officer Charles Smetana died on December 11, 1969, while responding to an injury accident. He himself became involved in an accident. Officer Smetana was only 33 years old when he gave his life trying to help others in need. This coming December will mark the 50th anniversary of his death. Police officer Martin Chivas was shot and killed on April 22, 1974, while investigating a burglary in progress. The suspects were prison escapees in the process of a multi-state crime spree. Officer Chivas was only 24 years old when he died. We recently remembered the 45th anniversary of Officer Chivas' tragic death. Officer Charles Mulvihill died on September 11th, 2001. He was responding to a call for service when he suffered an apparent heart failure. Officer Mulvihill was a mentor and a friend to so many during his 10 years of service here in the Troy Police Department. I believe it fitting today to acknowledge the Troy Police employees we have lost this past year. Sergeant Scott Smith and PSA Stephen Valancourt will be sorely missed. Both Scott and Steve were true friends to many here. Also remember Police Service Aide Stephanie Steele, who was killed off-duty by a drunk driver on July 19, 1999. In memory of Stephanie, her friends planted a flowering weeping cherry tree just east of the police department entrance. We will now conduct the laying of the wreath ceremony. Please rise and remain standing throughout the ceremony. The laying of the wreath will be assisted by members of our City Council, Mayor Dane Slater, Councilman David Hamilton, Councilman David Henderson, Councilwoman Ellen Hoderick, and Councilman Ed Pennington. Officer Charles Smetana.
Detail. Present. Hood. Class. Present. Hood.
Officer Martin Chavez. Officer Charles Mulvihill. Please be seated.
Detail. Well,
Council members, you may take your seats also. Thank you.
ceremonial. Ready. Ceremonial. Ready.
I want to thank everyone that attended this ceremony today. Just as a reminder, we have our open house this Saturday, the 18th, from 11 to 4. This concludes our ceremony. Lieutenant Harden, please dismiss the formation.
Detail. Let's see. Dismiss.
Once again, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Frank Nastasi. I'm proud to serve as the police chief here for the City of Troy Police Department. We are here today to recognize some of our officers for outstanding work they've done this past year. You will hear stories about extraordinary courage, skill, and professionalism our Troy police officers demonstrated. We also want to recognize the gallant efforts and support of citizens who have assisted our department and fellow citizens during the times of need. We'll be conducting a swearing-in ceremony for our new officers that have recently joined our ranks. These new officers will affirm their commitment to the law enforcement profession in service to this community through the oath of office. We'll also welcome new police service aides to the department. Before we begin, I want to thank everyone for joining us here. This large crowd is a testament to this community and the outstanding support the men and women of the Troy Police Department receive each and every day. I would like to introduce some of the dignitaries that are present. If you would please stand or wave, I'd appreciate it. Mayor Dane Slater. Councilman David Henderson. Councilwoman Ellen Hoderick. We have the representative for Padma Kupa, Mr. Harish. And prior Mayor Jeannie Stein. At this time, I would like to invite our police chaplain, Vince Messina, up to the podium to conduct the invocation.
Let's pray together, please. Our Heavenly Father, as we gather together once again, we have honored those who have given their lives in service. And now it is our privilege to be able to honor those who are actively involved in serving and protecting our community, to honor them and to award them with great service over and above the call of duty. We thank you for this time of fellowship. We ask that you bless this food to our bodies for your glory, and may our conversations be good around as we think about supporting, encouraging our officers. We thank you again. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. I was notified by Captain Redmond, Councilman David Henderson's here also. Hamilton. Got everyone, right? The work that Troy police officer does every single day is not ordinary. Police officers make personal sacrifices in service to the community. In a span of a career, an officer will work countless nights, weekends, and holidays away from their families. Police officers work in all conditions, rain, snow, heat, and cold. They stand ready to serve their fellow man, no matter the environment. Police officers take great personal risk, running towards situations which most people would flee. Honorable officers may be judged by the mistakes of others and may face insult or undue criticism. All police officers face these challenges, and the vast majority embrace these challenges with honor, integrity, and courage, never expecting any awards or recognition. With that being said, I would like to invite all active officers to please stand. These are the men and women that proudly serve and put themselves in harm's way on behalf of this community. It's also important that we recognize those that went before us. I invite all retired Troy officers to please stand. Are there any? Thank you. I would like our Honor Guard members to please stand. The Troy Police Honor Guard was formed to perform official remembrance to law enforcement professionals who passed in the line of duty. This week being Police Memorial Week, our Honor Guard traveled to Washington, D.C. to perform duties to support officers from around the country that were killed in the line of duty. With the untimely death of Sergeant Scott Smith, our Honor Guard completed their obligations in D.C. at 10 o'clock at night on Tuesday, and then traveled back all the way here to Troy to ensure they could render Honor Guard funeral service for Scott and his family Wednesday morning with no sleep. They performed flawlessly during that time. I really appreciate it, and they impressed the Smith family. So thank you very much for that. And this is a true testament to their devotion to duty, their commitment to honoring law enforcement personnel, and their unwavering dedication to representing the Troy Police Department. So thank you. We will begin by welcoming our new officers. It is no secret that the police profession has faced challenging times in recent years. We enjoy a positive reputation in Troy and have extraordinary community support. The negative narrative about police work may cause potential future candidates to turn away from this profession. Nevertheless, the individuals joining this profession today must be strong and determined people. They have chosen to pursue this profession despite these challenges. I'm proud of these new officers, as well as the longtime officers that have remained ever committed and positive in the face of adversity. In Troy, we make it our mission to hire only the best candidates and train them to the highest standards. We will begin usually with a very extensive background investigation to ensure they're well qualified, capable, and suited for the Troy police profession. We then put them through an intensive training program to prepare them for the rigors of police work. The training of our employees is career-long to ensure we meet the needs and expectations of our community. Police officers must be people who do the right thing even when nobody is looking. Troy officers are held to the highest standard and integrity. They must be people who are called to this profession to serve others and who are willing to put the interests of the community above their own. It is my responsibility to ensure that each officer recites the oath today that affirms their commitment to support the Constitution of the United States of America, support the Constitution of the State of Michigan, support the mission, vision, values, and core values of the Troy Police Department, and faithfully discharge the duties of the position of police officer for the Troy Police Department. At this time, I'd like to call up our new officers, Officer Nicholas Barrett, Officer Aaron Eng, Officer Timothy Nolan, and Officer Jake Shear. I would also like to call our city clerk, Aileen Dixon, who will conduct a group oath of office. Just a little bit of background. Nicholas, Aaron, and Timothy all worked in Detroit a number of years. And then Jake Shear, we took from Clawson. He did 9 years in Clawson. So I think that's excellent. So Aileen.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and the mission, vision, and core values of the Troy Police Department, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of police officer of the city of Troy to the best of my ability.
I think I do.
Nicholas Barrett, badge number 57, will be pinned on by his father, Patrick Barrett. So please come forward. For Aaron Eng, badge number 76, his badge will be pinned on by his wife, Catherine, and daughter, Alice. For Timothy Nolan, badge number 43 will be pinned on by his sister, Heather. And Jake Shear, badge 34, his badge will be pinned on by his wife, Stephanie, and daughter, Emma. That's awesome. He should have practiced. Congratulations. Thank you, gentlemen. You may have a seat. Today, we are also welcoming 2 new police service aides. Police service aides are an important part of Detroit Police Department. They keep our lockup and communication section running 24/7, 365 days of the year. They function as dispatchers, our call takers, and run our lockup. They also assist on road issues, traffic control, and animal issues. Like officers, they work nights, holidays, and weekends, and make many personal sacrifices on behalf of the community. However, unlike officers, police service aides are rarely seen and rarely receive public attention or appreciation. However, the work they do is very important to the officers that work here in the community for which we serve. At this time, I'd like to call up and introduce and welcome Police Service Aide Katie Brassard, who was previously an emergency medical technician, and Police Service Aide Ricardo Sanchez, who previously worked in the retail industry. Don't be shy. He just gave me the information. Katie couldn't make it, so we'll still give her a round of applause. And also, thank you. The purpose of this award ceremony is to recognize the exemplary performance of those that were met with immense challenges or danger, and that went above and beyond to make Troy a great community. I have Captain Bob Redman. He's the one on the right, he's not waving. And Captain Tom Gordon, and they will be assisting with the awards presentation. So at this time, I'd like to ask Captain Tom Gordon to come up for the first reading.
Good afternoon. We're going to start out with our Safe Driving Awards for 2018. The Safe Driving Award is given to departmental personnel that have experienced no at-fault crashes for 5 consecutive years of service. Those whose names I call are asked to stand at their tables and be recognized for your positive performance in this regard. Your certificates and ribbons will be delivered to you after the ceremony. Receiving the Safe Driving Awards this year are Sergeant Megan Lehman, Officer John Julian, and Detective Greg Stokczynski. Thank you. Our next recognition is for a civilian citation. I would ask that Diane Jelli please join us up here on stage. Diane. In the early morning hours of June 5th, 2018, Ms. Jelli observed a fire in the rear of her neighbor's home and called 911. While speaking to our dispatch center, she took it upon herself to alert the residents. She was successful in waking the homeowners, and they were able to evacuate safely. By the time the fire department arrived, the structure was fully engulfed. In recognition for her selfless heroism, we are pleased to present a civilian citation to Diane Jelli. Chris Culbreth, Matt Heasley, and Dan Kennedy. Please join us up here. From our PDIT section, Chris, Matt, and Dan comprise the police department's information technology section. They have made significant strides to improve the services they provide. Their day-to-day duties include mobile computer and camera operations, desktop computers, and video retention. In 2018, they effectively resolved over 1,700 help desk tickets. In recognition for their dedication to duty, we're presenting all three with a departmental unit commendation. Detective Jim Mork. Jim, I just saw you. Detective Mork is currently assigned to our Criminal Information Unit. In February 2018, he investigated a high-profile death incident and was extremely thorough and professional. He conducted an extensive background in this case and formulated a timeline of events. He provided a great amount of assistance to the distraught family. To recognize the efforts for outstanding work in this investigation, we present Detective James Mork with the departmental commendation. Can we have our Special Investigations Unit join us up here, please? Current and former.
No pictures.
On June 30th, 2018, the 7-Eleven on Crooks Road was robbed by two suspects at gunpoint. The investigation was assigned to detectives who were able to identify two suspects. This information was passed along to our Special Investigations Unit, and a surveillance was established. Both suspects were ultimately arrested and responsible for additional robberies throughout the Detroit metro area. The suspects are currently serving 4 to 20-year prison sentences. In recognition for their outstanding efforts in this case, we are proud to present our Special Investigations Unit, comprised of Sergeant Scott Lemilza, Detectives Michael Giordano, Brad Brazel, Andy Isidoric, Tim Newsom, Jordan Reich, and Mike Simpson, with a department unit commendation. Stay up here, guys.
They do a lot of great work.
Same crew for our Special Investigations Unit. Between July and December 2018, the Metro Detroit area had a multitude of car thefts where suspects were targeting General Motors sports utility vehicles. During one incident, the suspects unsuccessfully attempted to steal a Chevrolet Tahoe from the Troy Marriott parking structure. During follow-up investigation by Road Patrol officers, we were able to develop several suspects and a possible suspect vehicle. The suspect information was once again passed along to SIU. They gathered additional intelligence, developed further suspects, and surveillance was established. After 6.5 hours of surveillance on December 12th, 2 suspects were arrested. These individuals were responsible for 6 vehicle thefts in Troy and dozens of other thefts throughout the metro area. To recognize exemplary police work, we proudly present a department unit commendation to our Special Investigations Unit. Once again, Sergeant Scott Lemilza, Detectives Giordano, Brazel, Isidoric, Newsom, Reich, and Simpson.
It's my turn. I'll try to do it as well as he did. Catherine Aldred. Police Service Aide Katie Aldred was involved in popular community outreach initiatives when she was assigned to our communications section. She has taken Officer Donut to numerous schools to encourage positive police-community relationships. The results of the Officer Donut social media campaign continue to be outstanding and have raised more than $20,000 for charitable causes such as Haven and the Michigan Humane Society. All of these efforts have demonstrated our department's commitment to the community beyond traditional law enforcement. In recognition of her excellent efforts, we are pleased to present Catherine Aldred with the Community Service Award. Thank you. Officer Ben Hancock, Officer Joseph Mouch, Alliance Mobile Health employees Krista Belcourt, Todd Bird, and Thomas Ramey. Give them a minute to get up here. Officers Ben Hancock, Christopher Huck, and Joseph Mouch, as well as police service aide Don Buckby, responded to a call for service where an individual ran off the roadway due to a cardiac arrest. Hancock, Huck, Mouch, and Buckby performed CPR and administered AED shocks. Moments later, Alliance Mobile Health personnel Krista Belcourt, Todd Bird, and Thomas Ramey arrived and took over to medical care. The victim was transported to Royal Oak Beaumont Hospital and was discharged several days later. In recognition of the life-saving measures that were performed, we proudly present Officer Ben Hancock, Officer Joseph Mouch, and Alliance personnel Krista Belcourt, Todd Bird, and Thomas Ramey, each with a Civilian Life-Saving Award citation. Officer Tim Daniels, Officer David Houston, Officer Brian Warzeka. Ooh. In July of 2018, Officers Tim Daniels, Dave Houston, and Brian Warzeka responded to a call for service where a resident was severely bleeding after falling through a window. When direct pressure did not stop the bleeding, Officer Daniels, Houston, and Warzeka made the decision to apply a tourniquet. Due to their quick thinking and professionalism, we are proud to present Officer Tim Daniels, Officer David Houston, and Officer Brian Warzeka with a Merit Service Award. Sergeant Michael Szyminski, Officer Joe Mouch, Mary Eddy, Emily Ross, Kimberly Streeter, Katie Lasoski, and Alexandra Sims. In December of 2018, we received a 911 call from a Troy business that one of their employees was in cardiac arrest. 3 of the victim's co-workers, Mary Eddy, Emily Ross, and Kimberly Streeter, had begun life-saving CPR. Sergeant Szyminski and Officers Mouch and Yeomans and Alliance Mobile Health personnel Sam Bass, Katie Lasoski, and Alexandra Sims arrived and took over. They utilized a heart monitor which was showing no activity, and an AED shock was administered. The victim was transported to Royal Oak Beaumont Hospital, underwent surgery for a pacemaker, and was subsequently released. In recognition of the superior effort exhibited by all parties, we proudly present Sergeant Mike Szyminski, Officer Joseph Mouch, Mary Eddy, Emily Ross, Kimberly Streeter with civilian citations, and Alliance Mobile Health personnel Katie Lasoski and Alexandra Sims with civilian citations. Officer Pete Minton. Officer Minton and Officer Huck were dispatched on a welfare check at the Somerset Apartments. The 82-year-old female resident had not been in contact with family members throughout the day. The officers ascertained that her vehicle was not in the lot and the television was on in the apartment, but no one was answering the knock at the door. The officers forcibly entered the apartment and found the resident incoherent and semi-unresponsive from an apparent medical event. Medical first responders arrived on scene and transported the victim to the hospital. In recognition of their professionalism, which saved a resident's life, we are pleased to present Officer Pete Minton with a Merit Service Award. Officer Ben Hancock. In February of this year, Officer Hancock and Officer Solers responded to a residential structure fire and were on scene before the fire engine arrived. Hancock and Solers observed flames inside a vehicle parked in the garage and quickly deployed a fire extinguisher from their patrol car. Their quick response prevented the fire from spreading throughout the attached garage and to the residence. To recognize their outstanding performance, we are pleased to present Officer Ben Hancock with a Merit Service Award. Officer Brandon Parker, Officer Brian Wazeka, James Millar, Alliance Mobile Health people Sergio Ceci, and William Roth. In September 2018, a resident called 911 stating that his wife had collapsed, was not breathing, and he had initiated CPR. Officer Brandon Parker and Officer Brian Wazeka responded, along with Alliance Mobile Health personnel Sergio Ceci. The victim was transported to Troy Beaumont Hospital and released several days later. To recognize the life-saving measures that were performed, we proudly present Officer Brandon Parker and Officer Brian Wazeka with a Merit Service Award. Also, the wife accepting an award from the victim's husband, Barb Morrison. Sorry, I missed that. Sit there. Thank you. She also received the civilian citation for her work. Officer Andrew Lane. On April 9th, 2018, our communications section received a call regarding an individual who had physically assaulted family members and had armed himself with 2 knives. At the suggestion of our communications section, the individual had been locked out of the house by his family members. When Officer Lane arrived in his marked patrol vehicle, the subject began running at the patrol car. Numerous verbal commands were given to instruct the subject to drop the knives. He continued to approach Officer Lane, who drew his duty weapon and his taser. Officer Lane deployed his taser at approximately a 10-foot distance, but it was unable to penetrate the subject's clothing and was not effective. The subject immediately lunged toward Officer Lane with a large kitchen knife. Left with no other options, Officer Lane fired his duty weapon. The subject fell to the ground and later succumbed to his injuries. In recognition of the tremendous courage and valor displayed, we proudly present Officer Andrew Lane with a departmental citation. Officer Tim Daniels, Joseph Morgan, and Officer Brian Wazeka. On September 11, 2018, an armed robbery occurred in Pontiac, and we were advised that the suspect was traveling south on I-75. Officer Morgan positioned his patrol vehicle on I-75 and witnessed the suspect vehicle pass him on Rochester Road. Officer Morgan followed the suspect, and Officers Tim Daniels and Brian Wazeka joined him. The suspect realized he was being followed, and a brief police pursuit began. Our officers were successful at a box-in procedure, and the stolen money and a hold-up note were in the suspect's vehicles. For their outstanding performance, we are pleased to present Officers Tim Daniels and Officer Brian Wazeka with a departmental citation. Sergeant Michael Sminsky, Officer Michael Grasso, Officer Benjamin Hancock, Officer Rachel Morrow, and Officer Alexandra Pera. On Christmas morning in 2018, our department assisted the Sterling Heights Fire and Police Departments with an apartment complex that was totally engulfed in flames. Over 100 residents needed to be evacuated. Numerous apartment doors had to be forced open, and several residents had to be carried out. One firefighter suffered a broken leg, but all residents were rescued without injury. To recognize their outstanding performance, we are pleased to present Sergeant Michael Szyminski, Officer Michael Grasso, Officer Ben Hancock, Officer Rachel Morrow, and Officer Alexander Pera with a departmental citation. Lieutenant Russ Harden, Lieutenant Josh Jones, Sergeant Frank Schuler, Sergeant Michael Villero, Officer Dan Baclita, Officer Patrick Flood, Officer Benjamin Hancock, Officer Ed Julian, Officer Peter Minton, Officer Rachel Merrill, Officer Carlo Pizzori, and Officer Brenna Yankari. That's all of them. These past and present members of the Troy Police Honor Guard displayed outstanding effort in the Memorial Badge Monument. These officers oversaw the entire 3-year process from concept through design, the bid process, fundraising, and construction of the monument. This project was 100% funded by private funds. The monument significantly contributes to the aesthetics of our main entrance and is a standing tribute to the police profession. A commemorative brush badge was also designed and issued to all officers in recognition of the monument. In recognition of outstanding effort portrayed, we proudly present the following individuals with a department unit citation. Lieutenant Russ Harden, Lieutenant Josh Jones, Sergeant Jason Clark, Sergeant Frank Schuler, Sergeant Michael Villero, Officer Dan Baclita, Officer Patrick Flood, Officer Benjamin Hancock, Officer Ed Julian, Officer Peter Minton, Officer Rachel Morrow, Officer Carlo Pizzorni, and Officer Brenna Yankari. Thank you very much.
It's my turn. Chief's Award for Outstanding Accomplishment. Ask Lynn Georgie to please come forward. Lynn Georgie was employed by the Troy Police Department as an officer from 1998 to 2006. At that time, she decided to resign and stay at home to raise her children. In 2007, Lynn returned to begin employment as a part-time background investigator. The background investigations is the most important process in place, selecting potential employees for the police department. While working only 855 hours in 2018, Lynn completed 29 background investigations, which included 12 police officer candidates, 6 service aide candidates, and 11 civilian employees. In October 2018, a meeting was held of background investigators from other law enforcement agencies. Lynn formulated an hour-long presentation sharing the Troy PD method of organizing, investigating, and completing a thorough background investigation. The presentation was well received by more than 40 investigators who were present. In recognition of her dedication to duty and to show our appreciation, Lynn Georgie is presented with the Chief's Award for Outstanding Accomplishment. Next, I'd like to call up Terry Calusi. This is also for the Chief's Award for Outstanding Accomplishment. Since August of 2002, Terry Calusi has served as the office manager for our department. She worked with Chief Charles Kraft, Chief Gary Mayer, and now with me. In this role, she provided direct administrative support and assistance to the Chief of Police and captains, and supervised the department's administrative assistants. Terry always displayed a positive attitude, professional demeanor, and exemplary work ethic. Her position in the chief's office placed her in daily contact with residents and others that had concerns or questions. She received praise for her professionalism, compassion, and discretion. Each year, Terry served as a valuable member of the Troy Police Department's budget team. It's always fun doing the budget. She was relied upon to gather and analyze information from the other supervisors, and she transformed that data into the final annual budget presentation required by city management. Her vast responsibilities to the budget continued throughout the year, dealing with purchase orders and invoices. More fun stuff. Terry retired about a month ago, but we were fortunate enough to have her return on a part-time basis to assist with special events like this and, of course, the budget process. So in recognition of her professionalism, I proudly present Terry Cluzzi with the Chiefs Award for Outstanding Accomplishment. Next, I'd like to announce the non-sworn Employee of the Year. I would like Police Service Aide Peter Guest to please come forward. Police Service Aide Peter Guest has been chosen as the 2018 non-sworn Employee of the Year. Peter joined Troy PD in August of 2006 and has worked in our lockup section. He is currently assigned to our midnight shift. Pete's supervisor reports that he is extremely hardworking and has outstanding work ethic. He can always be relied on for his experience and assistance and always represents Troy PD in a professional manner. Pete's supervisor and road patrol officers speak very highly of his data master skills. He has administered hundreds of breath exams and considered one of the most qualified by his peers. His data master reports are meticulous and completed with great attention to detail. And so you guys all know what that is. It's what they have to do for persons that are arrested for drunk driving. Peter is always credible when he testifies in court on his operating while intoxicated cases, and he's always prepared to answer all questions and is never rattled by aggressive or argumentative defense attorneys. Apologies if there's any defense attorneys. He tracks the number of data master tests he has administered and has thorough knowledge of the entire process. Pete is currently a lockup training officer. He is highly motivated and eager to teach our new recruits. In 2018, he trained 3 lockup PSAs over the course of 6 months and did so in an exceptional manner. His commitment to the police department and its objectives never falters. His discretion and integrity are unquestionable. In recognition of this outstanding work and attention to detail, it is a pleasure to present Police Service Aide Peter Guest with the 2018 non-sworn Employee of the Year. Would you like to say a few words?
Sure. When have I ever turned down an opportunity to speak?
Go ahead.
All right. I just want to say thank you to all the police officers that I deal with every day, especially those that bring me a lot of customers. I do appreciate that. A very special thanks to the 3 chiefs that I've served under, Chief Kraft, Chief Mayer, and now Chief Nastasi. Sergeant Hudado, I don't think is here, but thank you very much for your confidence in me. And retired Captain Fry, who became a late mentor to me in my life. Kind of unusual for somebody this age to have a mentor, but I greatly appreciate what he's done. My family for all their support and coming down here, and especially my wife, who puts up with me working the midnight shift. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Next, I'd like to call up Officer Todd Gusky, Police Officer of the Year. Officer Todd Gusky has been selected as the Troy Police Officer of the Year for 2018. Todd was chosen for his prestigious award as a result of his exceptional abilities, strong commitment to providing excellent police service, and personal dedication to helping others. Todd was hired by the Troy Police Department in December 1995. Throughout his career with Troy PD, he has served in road patrol in our criminal investigation section. In his current position, Todd is a highly regarded member of the Southeast Michigan Financial Crimes Task Force, which is a Secret Service funded group comprised of investigators from federal and local jurisdictions. In 2018, Todd completed a 2-year investigation into a Detroit business that was buying and selling fraudulently obtained gift cards and prepaid credit cards. The proceeds from these cards through 23 different bank accounts was $18.2 million. In addition, Todd investigated an ATM skimming group acting in Troy, Royal Oak, and other surrounding areas. He identified the main suspect, and a federal warrant was obtained. The suspect was eventually arrested out of state. It was all from Todd's hard work. Todd routinely displays a professional attitude, diligence, commitment, and a high work ethic. And also has a strong desire to identify and arrest fraud suspects, which is very unique because it's a ton of work, and appreciate it. He has all the desired traits outlined in our core values of this department, and I appreciate that, Todd. Todd has demonstrated dedication and integrity that has earned him the respect of his peers and countless members of the community in which he serves on a daily basis. This selection recognizes Todd's day-to-day performance and professionalism. The Troy Police Department is proud to acknowledge all these achievements in selecting Officer Todd Gusky as the 2018 Police Officer of the Year. Next, I'd like to call up Sergeant Megan Lehman, Command Officer of the Year. Close table, that's good. Sergeant Megan Lehman has been selected as our 2018 Command Officer of the Year. She joined the Troy PD in May of 2004 and was promoted to Sergeant March of 2012. She's been assigned to Row Patrol, the Juvenile Unit of Criminal Investigations, and her current role in our Community Services section. Megan has worked to provide quality community outreach. More than 17,000 people have participated in our programs over just the past year. Here's a partial listing of programs provided through our Community Services section: Coffee with the Cop, House of Worship and Outreach, Safety Bowl for 5th graders, Pasta for Donut programs, and no, Pasta for Donut is not here, Code Red Emergency Preparedness Campaign, Drug Take Back, Row Patrol Summer Outreach, Troy Community Coalition Summer Camp, New Drivers Program, Troy School Presentations, Active Shooter Presentations, Senior Safety Bowl, Halloween Safety Bash, and Police Volunteer Programs. And I don't even think this is all of them. There's over, I think, 150 programs a year that they do, and they do a great job. Megan has pushed our social media efforts to the forefront. On a monthly basis, our department has tracked more than 1 million Twitter impressions and over 100,000 Facebook views. Our Facebook following increased by over 40% in 2018. Through this, we have increased our ability to have direct communication with our residents and community stakeholders. Social media is used to rapidly release emergency information directly to residents as well as to the media, further building our reputation as an approachable and community-oriented agency. Megan can always be relied upon to complete even the most difficult tasks. She has proven that she can handle and control extremely complex projects and effectively utilize all available resources. The selection of Megan for this award acknowledges her performance and professionalism. She is truly a credit to the Troy Police Department, and I proudly present Sergeant Megan Lehman with the award of the 2018 Command Officer of the Year. Finally got another one to speak.
I didn't prepare anything, but really the community outreach, I play a very small part in it. It's the officers that do all the hard work. So John Julian, Lisa Rockefeller, Katie, and now Greg is now a member of our team, but also the leadership that lets us take risks and let us get a cat. That was a huge risk. So retired Chief Mayor, Captain Redmond, and Chief Nasazi. So thank you.
Thank you, Megan. As everyone can see, my job's so easy because of these great men and women that work for the police department. I would like to also take this moment to recognize employees that put this event together today, and I'd like to ask you to please stand, and I know they love this part. Terry Caluzzi, Pat Gladys, Jessica Morris, Teresa Hope, Paula Brado, Kim Stevenson, Stacy Lubeski, Kristen Diag, Lori Freeman, and Paige Tomek. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Lastly, it's our privilege to recognize all those that support us each and every day. Our families, our friends, and our community. Without your support, the work we do would not be possible. Thank you for attending today, and this concludes the ceremony. Thank you very much.